Welcome to Home Team Advantage. I'm Gary Gimbetti along with Mike Egan here to discuss today's topics in sports, and we got a lot to talk about. So I suppose we should get right into it.
All right.
Where do you want to start?
Let's go with the high school.
First?
Our bread and butter.
Well, that's where we hope make our most money.
Yep.
So Hibbing High School boys hockey team
6 in a row.
won 6 in a row. They had 10 days off now until they play Detroit Lakes next Saturday, not this Saturday, but next Saturday. And then they finish off their regular season against Rock Ridge that next week. And then it's hard to believe they're in playoffs already.
Right.
But girls, and so, Kellen Elsner had 4 goals the other night against the Falls, and Isaiah Hildenbrand had 3, and Hunter Gustafson had 2 goals in that game. I think somebody, Joey Gabardi, I know, had a goal, and I'm not going to remember all of them, but that's more than enough.
Yep. Yeah.
11 goals is certainly more than enough to win the game. There's something I need to talk to you about after the show, too, and I'm not bringing it up on the air. But
Oh, am I going to be in suspense?
no, yeah, you're going to be in
42
suspense
minutes?
the whole time. So I'll just mention that right now.
Okay.
But
Excuse me. Ron, could you remind him that he needs to talk to me about something after the show?
and it's not earth-shattering or anything like that.
Can you remind me?
Yeah.
Okay, I'll remind you to remind him to remind somebody else about. I have to talk about something.
Who's on first?
Yeah. But they had 6 games in 9 days, and they won all 6 of them.
Yep.
Went to Crookston and beat them 8-1. Went to Thief River, beat them 5-3. And as far as I understand, Thief River was ranked above them in the state. So that's a nice win over a ranked team. So good for them. I'm not sure where Detroit Lakes is. I don't know if they're double. They might be a AA team. And obviously Rock Ridge is now AA. So they're ending the season. Hopefully they'll end it strong and they get set for playoffs. Get a high seed, get the 2nd seed maybe.
And they meet Hermantown in the finals.
Finals. Oh.
And Duluth.
And it's a long road ahead, but and so you can't say they're actually going to win every game, but hopefully they have a successful playoff run. The girls hockey team has one last game tonight against Grand Rapids Greenway over in Grand Rapids. It's a pink night for them over there, so they're going to raise money for cancer.
Right.
So if you can get over there and help donate to the cause, that would be great. And then they start their playoffs probably next week already.
Wow.
So, I don't think they're going to get a home game. Maybe they'll be the 5th seed. They might have to travel somewhere.
Speaking of, just to throw this out there, those that want to help with the cancer, the Angel Fund is having their annual bond spill. I think it's next week. So if you get an opportunity and someone comes by and asks for a donation, make sure you help out. They do a lot.
Yes. Oh, yeah. For all the people in this area, the money stays around the area, I believe. So,
Yes, it does.
and it helps everybody out.
So, anyway, sorry to say.
No, that's all right. No, we got to bring that stuff up on the show. So.
Okay, so girls hockey
Yeah, so they'll start playoffs. Boys basketball,
won a game
they won on Monday. They beat Proctor.
badly too. Or,
Real bad, by 30, over 35, I believe. Proctor only scored 10 points in the second half in that game. So they must have,
Yep.
they bore down on defense, I guess. I don't know how else to put it. But, and to win games, you're going to have to play defense.
I see the young man with the broken nose is back.
Yeah, Adams back.
Got the mask on.
Both, he had about 5 or 7 points in that game. Finley Carey and Ray Brow led the way, and then Finn Escaley had hit double figures as well. So the talent there is talent on that team. They just have to learn how to win.
Right.
They have to play. I'm almost positive they give effort every game. I don't think the effort part of it's an issue. So they play Aiken now tomorrow at the Lincoln. So they'll get a winning streak going.
Well, they got to be winding down now too, don't they?
Well, they have 7 or 8 games left, I think, because obviously they're the last state tournament in March. So they start a little bit later than hockey does. So they still have some games to play. But yeah, I mean it's all in front of them. And from what I understand, Duluth Denfeld lost their best player to a knee injury.
Ooh.
They had some other guys sitting out at the Christmas tournament due to injuries, I believe. Yeah, but this recent one was this other one here was more recent.
Okay.
So now that kind of opens it up for everybody because Denfeld they were legit.
much.
Yeah, they were legit. They have a lot of nice players, and the coach there is doing a great job with them. So.
I'll tell you, he's got a legit team. I went and watched, as we mentioned earlier, Chisholm and Cherry play over in Cherry, and they're a legitimate, good high school basketball team. And it's not just one guy. It's there's 5 guys on that floor that were playing for any other school. Hint, hint. They would have been. They would have been a real asset to any team.
Any team they would have played
Yeah.
for. So, enough said.
First, the only thing that was said before the game, do you think they'll break 100?
How did Chisholm do?
They stuck with them the first 2 minutes, and then after that it was over.
Okay.
I mean, they lost. I think it was 100 to, or 98 to 40 or something.
Did they play Tuesday?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I had hockey here, so I couldn't get over there for that game.
And a nice atmosphere too. You go in there, the gym is packed. People are excited. They get involved in the game. It's nice to see a smaller school like that have the success that they're having. So, and they can beat a couple of the bigger teams too, and I think they have.
Yeah, they're obviously well over 500 this year, and I hear the Section 7A tournament's all in Hibbing, or is in Hibbing this
Yes.
year from the quarterfinals on.
Right.
So
Get a chance to go out and watch them.
well, and there's that opportunity to maybe see Cherry and Mountain Iron in the finals. I mean, I don't want to put the jinx on anybody, but Mountain Iron's starting to play some pretty good basketball right now.
Yeah.
They've got a lot of good players now. Are they the same caliber as what Cherry has? That remains to be seen.
And if you want to watch a good basketball player in the state of Minnesota, Mr. Osama is the real deal. So
Yeah, and you know what? I know you're right there, but his younger brother is
also very good.
very good, and cousin
cousin.
is very good.
Yeah.
So, yeah, they'll be a tough out to get if they get to the state tournament, and it shouldn't be if, but probably when. But stranger things happen.
Right.
So, girls basketball, they have a game against Duluth Denfeld tonight. They haven't played recently, so I don't know. I can't give any updates on really how they've been doing, but they should. I'm assuming they'll win tonight because they beat Denfeld a little bit earlier in the season. So unless something drastic happens there, and this should hopefully pull out a victory tonight. Swimming, they had their Lake Superior Conference meet on last Saturday, and Hibbing placed 4th. And now they have their Hibbing invite this Saturday, bringing up some teams from the Twin Cities. And I know Rock Ridge, I believe, is the only, unless Rapids is in it, then it'll be Rapids and Hibbing, and Rock Ridge. And then it'll be, if they have 8 teams, it'll be 5 from the.
Okay.
I know Jefferson will come up, and Richfield comes up usually. Simley usually comes up for that. And right now I can't think of the other ones, but it should be an interesting Saturday.
Well, they don't have to worry about any snowstorms.
No, they come up and all the snow will be gone probably by
The
Saturday.
golf course has opened up in Minneapolis. I'm going, what the?
Yeah, I don't know. You know what? I like playing golf, but I just don't think I can handle playing golf in January because the ground has to be, I would have believed, somewhat frozen.
Oh, yeah.
So I don't why these courses do this. I don't know.
They had a story on WDIO last night about the weather's so screwy that the plants are starting to grow.
Yeah, maybe we'll see leaves
Yeah.
on the trees in March. Who knows? But they can tell. You know what? It's weird how they can tell just by the sunlight.
Yep.
You know, and obviously as the sun starts sinking further to the south during the winter time, the leaves change and they fall, and then all of a sudden when spring shows up, and
The sun sets in the south?
well, it's goes farther south as it sets in the west. Okay, pardon me for being dumb, I guess, but because when in the summertime when the sun comes up, it's obviously a lot farther to the north.
Yeah. It'll come up tomorrow.
Yeah, hopefully come up tomorrow. You never
Something
know.
will come up tomorrow.
Yeah.
Could be
Isn't that
another
a
story.
song? Isn't that a song in Annie? I guess. I
The
don't
sun will
know.
come out tomorrow?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. Okay.
Tomorrow.
Yeah.
Tomorrow.
Tonight. Sun will come up tonight. So that takes care of that. Skiers are hitting the slopes still. They have their sections, I'm sure, coming up in maybe next week.
Is
They'll have their sections.
that a dry run? type
Well,
deal?
I don't know. I'm sure they're making a bunch of snow out at Giants Ridge because cross country are both Nordic and Alpine
Alpine.
have their sections and state tournaments there. So
Well, I imagine the weather's still cold enough at night that they can make the snow, and then hopefully it sticks around. But it's going to be 40s again today, I think.
yeah.
50s
I
in
think-
the cities.
I heard a cold front's coming through though, so it's going to get a little bit cooler out, but not like freezing cold, but cold enough to keep snow and ice going for fishermen. And
But we should always count on basketball or hockey tournament time. We'll probably get a snowstorm or something.
boy, that first weekend of probably the girls hockey tournament will have a snowstorm. Wouldn't surprise me one bit.
College basketball, anything going on there?
Well, they played Dakota College last night, or Dakota County last night, and I don't know, they got beat 108 to 60 something.
No.
So they're Kenzie's coaching his butt off, I guess I can say that, but they're undermanned.
Yeah.
So they have some really good players, and this Jalen Thorns has hit in the 30s and in 23, I believe, last night. Philip Sheets hit like 5 threes last night. But a kid from Dakota County who was hitting on the season was hitting only 16.9% of his 3-pointers. And he hits 5.
Oh,
So you can't defend that. I mean, you can maybe play a little bit better defense, but how are you going to defend it when they're going in? I mean, and that's happened to Hibbing twice in the last 2 weeks, where a kid shooting below 20% is,
I still say the 3-point line ruined basketball.
well, yeah, I don't necessarily like it. Because now they say if you're looking at analytics, they say it's better off to take a 3-pointer than it is to
Work the ball in
work
for a
the ball
2-point.
in for a 2-pointer. Evidently, I don't know how that works out, but
Put it this way: if I were a fan and I had to pay $200 for a ticket to go watch a professional basketball team play the game they're playing now, I'd rather go out on a playground and watch kids throw it up for the 3-point line. It just
yeah.
doesn't make any
Yeah.
sense. So,
Well, that's the analytics, Mike. That's
Yeah.
the new wave of doing things. Just like
doesn't mean it's the right way.
just like Billy Ball or Billy
Beanball?
Beanball,
Yeah.
where you go out and you get the guy. Now, I guess that makes more sense there because you would want a guy in your lineup that gets on base a lot.
Yep.
That increases your chances of obviously scoring runs.
Right.
But but that year that they did to get beat by the Twins, they couldn't move runners around and do anything like that. So
Speaking of the segue that you just mentioned,
yes, that was a good-
Minnesota Twins. What in the hell are they doing?
Well, they if you haven't heard by now, they traded Jorge Polanco to Seattle.
Yeah, for Larry Curly, Mo, and Shemp.
Yeah, that's yeah. Good. That was a good one. I don't have the names in front of me. I know they got a young 20-year-old guy who moved between Class A and I think Class AAA last year. He burned it up in Class A, but then he got into AAA and
Didn't burn it up so
didn't
much.
burn it up in AAA. They picked up this Descala Feeney, who was a starting pitcher, was with the Giants,
Years ago.
and then he obviously was with Seattle last year, but he's nothing to shake a stick at.
No.
They got a Topa, I think was his last name of the reliever, who might be. Well, we lost Emilio Pagan,
Yep.
obviously, to free agency. So if this guy is,
Well, the way we
Little
picked up
bit
Pagan, it's
well,
Pagan. Remember, we kept telling him he'd be gone.
be gone. So now we don't have Pagan anymore. But if this guy can step into that, some late inning reliever role, and at least be halfway
Yep.
dependable, then maybe that's not a bad deal. But then I don't know. They got a fourth guy that I've never heard of, and
It's Shimp.
yeah,
He's like he's the
Yeah.
one of Three Stooges you never hear of.
yeah. And you've heard me complain on this show before about the New York Yankees trading squat for Juan Soto out to San Diego. I don't study minor league baseball. I don't know how high those prospects were, but they didn't trade anybody of any
No.
significance to get Soto.
Or money wise.
No, and but the Twins trade one. Like I said, Soto is on the top level. I mean, he's that good.
Yep.
Now Polanco is not on that same level, probably a level down. But you get nothing for him, and all you did was trade to get him to lose money.
To lower your salary cap. It's not like they're going to go out and sign some big name. So who's next on the block? Kepler?
Kepler has been the big rumor, but again we talked Polanco. The Twins have a glut of middle infielders because now you have Julien last year kind of stepped in and did a pretty
Yep.
decent job, and then you got the Brooks Lee kid, and you got Polanco was expendable. But I get something back for him. I mean,
Yeah.
you needed a starting pitcher, a good starting pitcher, and you didn't get it. I'm sorry.
And then the talk is that Buxton will be back in center field because they haven't signed Michael Taylor.
No, but he's still out there, and that could be something that they're probably working on at this point, because obviously spring training now starts
Next week, isn't
2
it?
weeks at least. So pitchers and catchers will report next week probably sometime,
And congratulations to Mr. Mauer
yes.
making it to the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. So that tells you a lot about what he had done as a catcher to make it into the Hall of Fame on the first ballot. So
Well, and to more to your point, he should have been what do they call it? He should have got every vote.
right, unanimous, yeah.
He should have been a unanimous pick to make it into the
Yeah.
Hall of Fame. But so whoever didn't vote for him, I would take their voting rates away.
Well, the big question was with him is that yes, being a catcher, that he was hurt, that he didn't have the legs. That wasn't it. He had a concussion,
Well,
kind of like Morneau.
no, yeah.
They put him right out of the game. He had to retire. So he used to kid, because he's no different than any other Major League Baseball. But you're going to get into a slump. You're not going to hit 400 every year. But Mauer probably is still one of the best catchers. He is the best one the Minnesota Twins ever had.
Well, and isn't he the only catcher that's won batting titles?
Yes.
I'm not sure on that.
Well,
I could be wrong,
Bench, I think, might have won.
All
one.
right.
I'm not sure, but
but he won 3 of
he
them
won 3 of them.
as a catcher.
He's no Earl Batty.
No. So, I mean, he didn't win it when he went to first base. He won all of them as a catcher.
Catcher.
So, congratulations to him.
Yep.
It's too bad we don't get to know these guys, but I thought maybe you had some pull or something to get him on our show here. But
Well, never say never.
I'm putting a lot of pressure on you.
Yeah.
I know.
My
So-
sources are getting to be a little, skittish when you keep asking these questions.
So, good for him. It's an honor. It's deserving honor.
Yeah.
So at least the Twins are, but the other talker was these other guys that can't get in, like A-Rod, Roger Clemens, and Barry Bonds. But I heard somebody talking on TV the other day about that. These guys might not have statues in Cooperstown,
But they sure got money
but
in the
they're
bank.
they're in Cooperstown because of some other feat they accomplished, like Bonds hitting over 70 home runs.
Yeah.
That bat is in there, I'm sure.
Yeah.
Maybe the ball is in there. I don't know. You know, and Clemens, I'm sure, has something in there, and A-Rod probably has something in there. So these guys are in the Hall of Fame. They just don't have the statues. But I think Pete Rose should be in, to be honest with you. But he's even in there because of the 4,000 hits.
Yep.
You know, so they're all represented. So I didn't think of it that way in those terms.
Some way or another, they're part of the Hall of Fame.
Yeah.
So. And they got the bank.
Well, yeah. So I'm sure they don't.
They're not
No,
hurting.
I'm sure they care. You know, look how long it took Burt Blyleven, and he cared.
Yeah.
So I'm sure these guys do care
Yep.
about it, but just for some reason these sports writers won't. And I also heard. Oh yeah, the other one was, and this is on the same show I was watching on the Yes Network. Oh God, no! I hope I don't forget. And I'm gonna forget it. Well, it'll come up. Yeah. I just lost my train of thought. So
All right, football. What'd you think of the playoff games?
didn't see either one of them. Kansas City didn't surprise me one bit. Patrick Mahomes
Yep.
is probably the best quarterback in the league. So whenever you have him,
There's always a chance.
mm,
Him and Kelsey. Take away the Taylor Swift thing, but Kelsey's a good football player.
oh yeah, he's set a record
Yeah.
to do that. Baltimore just, I don't know what
flipped.
happened.
They flipped.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Detroit, their coach ego got in the way.
well,
Take the points.
well,
Whenever you get a chance, take the points.
Detroit fans have waited so long for something positive to happen. Now they finally get it,
Well, they got the Minnesota curse now.
and now they know what it's like to have your aorta smashed when it counts for good.
Yep.
So maybe they're better off not having this success. I know I'm saying stuff that it's really off the collar, but
Boy, when you look at it for next year, though, I'm sure they're gonna, the hype will start. The Vikings this, Vikings that. They got a tough division with the Bears now and the Detroit and the Minnesota. It's going to be a tough division for them. Who's the other team?
well, Chicago, Green Bay.
Green Bay.
How could you forget Green Bay?
Very easily. Sorry, Kerry.
Oh yeah, and I remember I was going to say, they said about the PEDs. The guy said,
Peds?
yeah, if you don't think that there aren't guys in there right now that took PEDs,
Oh.
you're sorely mistaken, but it never got brought to light as it did with some of those other guys. And he said the writers that voted for those guys are hypocrites because they knew that they were on PEDs,
Yep.
but they didn't. They bypassed it or didn't. They looked past it because it wasn't brought
No,
out. Like
I
it
don't
was.
think Bert was.
Well, no, but that was the other was the other thing, and I'm sure there are guys in there right now that took performance enhancing
Probably.
substances. So, but you know what? Let it whatever.
Yep. So my prediction, just to let you know, my inside sources are telling me the Vikings will not sign Cousins.
Okay.
They're going to go out and look for a veteran quarterback, and then draft a quarterback in the upcoming.
All right. So who? Now I know you don't know this, but rhetorical question.
Kid from Washington.
But who do you sign as your veteran quarterback?
Who's ever available?
Available? Yeah. Okay. So let's see. Russell Wilson.
Russell Wilson will be available.
I think Ben Lieber will quit the Vikings Entertainment Network
If
if
they
they
bring
sign
him.
Russell Wilson in because he does not like him.
I don't think Ben Lieber runs the football team.
No, he doesn't. I'm trying to think who's the other one. Baker Mayfield
Yeah,
might be available.
he's proven to be a winner.
Well, he did this year.
Yep.
So, yeah, I don't know. But now the other question is who do you trade to get up to number 4 or 3 or 2?
Well,
Do you trade Justin Jefferson?
yes. Do they have? I think they got the guys behind them that can play just as close to
Oh, okay.
the ability that Mr. Jefferson had.
Now, we might disagree on that one a little bit.
Let's
But
put it this way: the Twins are getting in a rebuilding stage, and until they do something, Now, the big talk was their big defensive coach, he was going to be gone because he was going to be a head coach somewhere. He didn't even get an interview.
No, he didn't.
So-
That was unfortunate, but I'm glad he's back.
Yeah, but
So-
what are you going to do with a defense that didn't really play? I mean, they played well, but then
That's
as they figured out, like the NFL, not for long,
yeah.
they figured out how to beat his defense.
Well, at
And he didn't
spurts,
change.
yeah, that spurts they were very good.
Yep,
But then at the end of the season,
everybody knew how to beat him.
yeah, they reverted back to their old form. So, Timberwolves,
Played really well
they're
last night.
20 games over 500.
Yeah.
I mean, at 34-14, I believe.
Yeah.
And I get that big game against Oklahoma City. I'm kind of glad Holmgren didn't have a very good game that game because I know he's been having a decent season
Yep.
for him, but I'm glad we kind of shut him down a little bit.
My son and granddaughter went and watched him play last night, and she's a big Jokic,
Doncic.
whatever hell his name is. Big fan of his, but he didn't
Play.
He didn't play.
So they spent $200 a ticket to go watch Luka Doncic play, and
Yeah.
he didn't play.
Yeah,
Kyrie Irving didn't play.
no, but they still beat him by almost 30.
Yeah, there was a tie. I heard it was a tight game
Yep.
through the first half, but then all of a sudden they pulled away. I think outscored them 69-39 in the second half.
So hopefully they continue to play well, because then again it'll be gonna come to playoff time. Everybody will be all hyped up and fall right
Well,
in there.
they need to make, but they talk about what kind of moves they can make to be better.
Get a guard.
Well, they need a guard, but how do you get it? I mean, who do you get rid of? That you
Some-
don't need,
Somebody will be out there.
because
and
you
they'll
don't
figure it out.
you don't have a whole lot of draft picks anymore
No.
to really get rid of. So.
No. And the way the third big man's playing for him, he'd be a good
Nas
trade.
Reed. Well, yeah, but I don't. Do you want to break that up? I mean, well, that's up to them. I'm glad I'm not Tim Conley.
Yeah.
I don't have to figure that out.
And you got to give credit to their coach. I think he's done a yeoman job. Is that how
Mhm.
considering who they've had in the past as coaches and the personnel they've had. So
Well, they're the number one defensive team.
Yep.
Boy, funny what
a little
can
defense.
happen. Yeah, really.
So
Now the defense has been spotty once in a while, but still, if you're number one in the NBA in defense, that's not a bad thing.
that ain't saying much either.
Because I don't know. I think they've held, is it 10, 9? It's between 5 and 10 games, or they've held teams under 100
100
points,
points.
which isn't a bad.
No.
No, it's either a good defense or bad offense you're playing. But, and I suppose if Luka was there last night, they probably would have scored 100. But you don't know that either.
No.
So,
All right.
but we've come to the end of another show.
Our sponsor with our local Yoko Caramel Moco Joko, whatever it is.
Turtle Mocha.
Turtle Mocha.
So for Mike Egan,
Look at
I'm
that. It's
Gary
got a hard
Gimetti.
shell on the top.
We'll see you again next week on Home Team Advantage.
For over 25 years, U.S. Bank, located at 211 East Howard Street in Hibbing, Minnesota, has provided office and studio space for Hibbing Public Access Television. We are thankful for their ongoing support.